Alright, going into lap 2. Welcome back everybody for the part 2, the final part of racing the KLX. And I just said second place. That's what we came in after the first lap. Came in at second place, and there's still a ton of racing left to do. If you didn't see the first part already, go check it out. We are racing a Harescramble on the KLX300 dual sport, street legal dual sport at this is at Lost Valley, and it's kind of like a mountainy trail riding track place in North Carolina. So yeah, going into our second lap, still feeling pretty good, pretty fresh. How I did it was the first video was, like I said, was pretty much just a full-on that was a close one. First video was pretty much just a straight-on lap, and I don't think I really made any cuts at all to it.
Oh my god.
And so for this next part, it's gonna be a little more cut up, but still pretty long. Like I had to work to get it down to like 30 minutes. But yeah, definitely coming into doing the first lap. I'm still pretty fresh right now, but you'll see me progressively kind of wean off a little bit and peter out a little bit over this video. But I mean, I held my own for the most part. But first lap, no doubt, I was going, I would say, the fastest. I would say, yeah, first lap of these races, you can probably get your best lap as long as you're not running into like too much traffic. Like this, there was not much traffic at all on this race. I guess that might be because it wasn't super hard, like compared to Brushy Mountain is the next race. That's coming up in about a week or two, and that one's a lot more, I would say it's more technical and more hills and maybe some more tight stuff. It's been a while since I did the last race at Brushy, so I don't remember it being too much different, but it definitely got a lot more stopped up on that. And I should be, if everything goes according to plan, I should be at that race at Brushy, the next race of this. I should be on the YZ. A couple of things popped up with that as a little more work needed to that bike than I was anticipating, but I don't know if y'all want to see a video about kind of what's going on with that, let me know. But should be on that. Probably won't take the KLX on the next race. It just beat up the bike a little bit. I need to do fork seals. I need to do some things before I really take it out again. And yeah, kind of when I slow down, you can see it had rained. Like I said in the first video, it had rained like Friday and maybe Saturday, definitely Friday. And the GoPro, as it always, does no justice to just how muddy and ruddy it is. And you would think, because we're the third race, the 3 p.m. race, there's a 9 a.m. race for the mini bikes and the 12 p.m. AB big bikes. And you'd think it'd be even more beat up when we finally got to it, but it wasn't that bad the first lap, but you could definitely tell the progression of the track getting beat up and rutted out. As you can hear, this KLX suspension just clanking down. That's something I always get asked, is if I have anything done to the suspension at all. No, literally how I got it off the showroom floor is how I have the suspension. I haven't done any clickers. I'm trying to let someone over and lay her down. But no, I haven't done any suspension work at all. I haven't even touched a clicker. Nothing. So yeah, this is completely stock KLX. I've obviously done some like mods with exhaust, and that's about it. Exhaust and a tuner, and I got handlebars, foot pegs, but which is all. I'll link that in the description as well if you guys want to check that out. But no, suspension wise, which is arguably the biggest like first must-do mod on a dirt bike, no, I haven't touched it. I've actually never had suspension done or set up for me. Like, I guess they revalve it. I'm not even sure what it all entails, but I've never had something like custom set up for me on any bike I've ever owned ever. And I think that'd be huge, so maybe that's something I'll look into. It's just, it can be, I know it can be expensive, or I'm assuming it is, but from what I hear, like, people say you should do your suspension first, and I'm kind of getting to the point where I want to try it out and do that. So keep an eye out. That first fall, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was the first fall of the race, about like 30 seconds ago. We'll see. All I'm gonna say is it gets a little tougher here. First lap was pretty smooth sailing. It gets a little tougher. We get some face some adversity here throughout the race. So stay tuned for that. But also, at the end of this video, just for a heads up if you want to skip to it or whatever, at the end of this video I do a little clip with my phone when I'm cleaning up the bike and just kind of go over all the carnage and how I banged up the bike and all that. So that'll be at the end of this video, like the very, very end. I'll just throw in that clip if you guys want to see that. It definitely took a toll on the bike a little bit. I mean, it still runs and everything's fine, really, but it took a toll on the bike. We'll just leave it at that. And there's crash number 2. That was a pretty rough one. That was probably one of the worst crashes of the race. I wasn't going super fast or anything, but definitely came down kind of hard. My front just slightly slipped out more and more until it finally gave way, and I went to the side. And if I remember right, I mean, I'm fine. I'm fine now, but I think my shoulder kind of dug into the ground a little bit. I hurt a little bit, but geez, falling, just staying up. You know, you can go super fast for a little bit, and then boom, you fall and you lose your stamina, and you got to pick the bike up. And you know, especially that's the one thing with the KLX, it's heavier, which I don't really feel it when it's moving and going down the trail as much, being so heavy. But when you pick it up, you definitely feel it. So that's definitely, you know, one thing with these races is you can eliminate falling alone. That's going to do you well. Falling takes up a lot that was a deep rut, and it gets even worse throughout the race. Falling takes up so much time and hurts you so much. So that's something I've learned, but it's hard. It's hard to stay up on all this stuff, especially if you're trying to push it a little bit. So we just went through that spectator area over there too, and obviously this is the Harescramble, North Carolina Harescramble Association. But it makes me want to try other things. Like it's kind of similar to, I guess, I've never done a GNCC, but I guess it's kind of similar to GNCC. I know there's like a US Sprint Enduro, which I'm not even sure what that's about. I guess it's kind of more timed sections rather than one long big race, but I've never even watched a video about it, or I really have no clue about what it is. And then there's also Mid-East Racing, which is like another Harescramble series that goes in North Carolina and South Carolina. Also somewhat local-ish to me. Like, all the races are 2 hours, 45 minutes to like 4 hours away, I think. So local-ish, close enough, but still not not close. It's a big thing getting out to them. But this definitely makes me want to at least check those out, because I've really enjoyed this series, and they put on some really cool events, and see what else is out there, hit some new tracks and stuff. Coming through the open section now again, sand section. It's super muddy over here, but I remember this first time, this is where I got stuck the first lap. I went in that super deep rut on the right. Definitely made a point to go around that. Still wasn't easy. Another thing is just the GoPro does not show how muddy and deep that stuff was. But let's talk about, I know a lot of people were watching the channel in this video for the KLX, and kind of talk about that a little bit. So as I was saying first, like the weight, yeah, it's a really heavy bike. It's a pig of a bike. It's like 310 pounds, probably without gas in it and whatever. I don't know. It's a heavy bike. It's a heavy bike, but I don't really feel that when I'm moving on the trail so much. I really don't. Power wise, see, I've ridden like a KLX 140 and trail bikes before, and also race bikes, YZ 252 stroke, YZ 250F, 450, my RMZ4. Oh, went down again, trying to clean the GoPro off for y'all. Leave a like for that. But yeah, so I kind of know what to expect when I'm getting into it. But power wise, it's fine. Like it's fine on the trails. It's got enough. Some people pulled on me on the hills and everything. It's not gonna be the best bike for this. That's obvious. But power wise, with my setup, with my exhaust and the EJK, like it feels good. And the tires were surprisingly good too. I have the Tusk Dual Sport tires, which will also be in the description. I'll link them. They're like a set on Amazon for $125. It's crazy cheap. They're a little bit tough to put on, I will say that. It may be worth paying someone to throw them on. I've wrestled with them before, and I've also paid someone to throw them on. But they have like a really hard sidewall to them, which makes them a little bit hard to install. But they're really good tires from what I think they're better than stock. All I've ran is the stock, what are they, D605s that come with the bike, and these Tusks, which will still last and are still decent-ish on the street. So the Tusk is pretty good. It's just like a little bit more thicker, knobby than the D605 that comes stock on the bike. It's still not going to be like a straight up knobby MX whatever tire, gummy tire that's going to be perfect for trails. I've thought about putting that on this bike because I really do ride mostly trail on the KLX, but let's just wear out more and more to worry about, and I really get around fine with this Tusk Dual Sport. So we talked about weight, we talked about the power, which I felt was fine for the trails. weight can be a little bit of a hassle, but if you keep it moving, it's pretty much for the most part good. What's that leave us with? Suspension. You know, suspension. These bikes are known. It's a dual sport off the showroom floor. It's gonna be softer. I've never really had a huge problem with it until it's kind of unfair for me to even say anything about it, because like I said in the first video, I noticed the fork seals were leaking a little bit before this, and they're due for a rebuild after this race. We'll say that. But aside from that, being a little soft when you're going kind of faster and hitting some like little potholes or roots, stuff like that. The only other thing I'd complain about is the bike's lower to the ground than some of these other bikes that are out here and going through ruts. Like you saw me in the first video, if you watched it, you saw me get stuck in that rut where I don't know if a lot of other bikes were doing that or not, but it's definitely lower to the ground. It sits a little lower to the ground. Maybe it's because it's more heavy. Maybe it's because the suspension sags a little bit more. I don't know, but it 100% sits a little lower to the ground, which I have my skid plate. I'm not really worried about it, but it's definitely something that hinders you a little bit compared to a regular motocross bike or straight up trail bike. Alright, so completed our second lap, going into our third lap. If you can't see it on the TV that we just passed on the left there, we're now in third place. So, third place in my class. By the way, my class has 18 people in it. Not too bad considering we just fell, twice on that second lap? One was a pretty rough fall. I don't know if this guy was in my class or not. It's so hard to tell. But not too bad considering we had two big falls there. Still keeping it rolling. Got this little straightaway section. Woo! This guy kind of yeeted her off to the side a little bit. That'll happen to you on these rough tracks. You can see, like what I was saying earlier, these ruts are really developing and getting super deep in one line. Yeah, you can even see it through the GoPro. But the track conditions overall, for what they were working with, were honestly, I thought, pretty dang good. Like, some of it was some nice dirt, and then some of it, yeah, it got ruddy and stuff. You expect that. It's a trail race. It's 200-something riders going through a trail 4 laps, and then times that by 3, because there's 3 different sets of races. Yeah, it's gonna get rutted up. That's just part of it, but it's what kind of sets people apart, and it's good practice. well into our third lap, and I'm using, so I got the GoPro here at 12, the newest GoPro. I've got that. I've been using that. I think my quality, I actually think it has a little bit of better quality. Usually kind of the new GoPros come out, they all look pretty much the same. But also, a little tip for y'all out there that are putting out GoPro videos on YouTube. It took me way too long to realize this, but it's all about how you export it. Exporting it in 4K makes it show up so much better on YouTube. So I don't know. I think my quality is looking pretty good on YouTube, but let me know. I thought this guy was gonna go on the inside, and I go to the outside, but just barrel down this hill. But yeah, let me know if you guys are liking the quality. I just use iMovie, so it's nothing fancy, but I think I figured it out a little bit how to make it look good. Also, so a dilemma I had when I started doing these races, I did like I said 2 or 3 last year in the last round. A little dilemma I had was having a GoPro last the whole race. This is like an hour and a half usually, or an hour and a half I'd say, like at least if you go 4 laps. Well, let's just say an hour and a half. So having a GoPro last the whole race on one battery, because I don't really want to stop and change a battery. I mean, I could, but I just don't really want to. And I'm gonna go get his name right now. Someone made a comment. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just do that. All right, Jagnor. Shout out to you, Jagnor. He made a comment on my, I think it was Lost Valley last year Harescramble race on the YZ, and I was kind of talking about like just the dilemma I had with the GoPro not wanting to last the whole race, so I was kind of turning it on and off and trying to save it and everything. Well, I had the GoPro Hero 9. That's what I've used on my channel for the whole channel life until a few weeks ago that I got this Hero 12 finally, because they don't do too much to the GoPros when they come out with a new one for the most part. But I had a 9, the 12 came out. I was like, okay, I use the GoPro a ton, let's get the 12. So now I have the 9 and the 12, and basically he was like, why don't you just have one on your chin and one on your chest? So when that one on your chin runs out, turn the one on your chest on. So I was like, shoot, I like that idea, because I could. Oh, see how this rut got so much more deep from the last lap. Because I could just have like an external battery pack or whatever mounted to my helmet and everything. But that's just more weight, a little more complicated. I was like, yeah, shoot, I just got this new GoPro. Let's just put the extra GoPro we have on our chest, So I had that on my chest this whole race. I never actually turned it on. The 12 with this battery, I'm using like the Enduro batteries that I guess they all come with now. It lasted pretty dang good. I think it lasted 3.5 laps or so of the race. So I didn't really have to, and by the end, on the fourth lap, I'm kind of out of energy. I was like, screw it. But yeah, shout out to him for that idea. So that's what I did on this race. I had my chin mounted GoPro, which you're seeing right now, and then I had my Hero 9 mounted on my chest, which I was going to use for backup. I haven't used the chest mount in so long, so I don't know how that would look compared to the chin mount, which I always do. But I had it there for backup. I'm sure it would have been better than nothing. So shout out to him for that idea. this is a nice little hotline, but then you hit this little, oh, I guess I edited it out, this little lip. Got a little hung up out here. Keep her rolling. Again, this is a third lap still. Come up to this nice hill climb. Oh, let the KLX do its thing. Tractor, she'll hook up. I swear it. This thing hooks up good, unless you're completely stopped, like any bike. But she'll keep going if you keep it going. But would I do this again? Oof. Would I do this again on the KLX? Well, I'm definitely gonna have to get some get the fork seals rebuilt on the bike. That's a definite. But probably not. I mean, before I was a definite no. Probably definitely no. But I mean, it really wasn't that bad. The thing is, when it came down to it, would I have been faster on the YZ? Yes, I would have been faster on the YZ. So maybe if the YZ is down or something like that, I would take this. You know what? I would take this before I think I would take this before I took my 2023 RMZ 450 with the kickstart. That thing, I hate it for trails. I love it on the track. I hate it for trails. It's just not. I don't know how I got into this single track, by the way. I don't think I hit this on any of the other laps. I don't know how I found myself on this. But anyway, yeah, the RMZ 450, that thing, oof, it's at slow speeds, kind of, I don't know if it's flaming out or if it just stalls out super easy at low speed. I had to hit him with the horn. Did it for the, I had to do it. I think I did it to this guy too. Hit him with it. Hit him with the dual sport horn. But yeah, you know what? Like I was saying, I would take this before I probably take the RMZ 450 with the kickstart. I think that would be a even less fun than this. This was pretty much fine. I mean, it wasn't fun landing over and picking it up. That's and bottoming out in certain spots, but a little tougher suspension. I wouldn't really mind it at all, honestly.
Damn it.
Them roots got me. But the other big thing, like I was mentioning before, is really just the it being lower to the ground. And that's for ruts and everything like that. It's lower to the ground, which makes things tougher. We're getting to the end of this third lap, and that fall, yep, you're about to see. Again, we got the shifter stuck. This time it bent in, and yeah. Try to give it a good old yank. I guess I'm getting them all mixed up. The other time it bent backing out. I kind of just was able to kick it in real quick. This time it bent in, which was a little tougher to pull out, but that thing has been bent so much, that shifter, that it was really not too much of a big deal to pull out. It bent pretty easy, and we're back on our way. I definitely got to throw that aftermarket Tusk shifter that I got on there and see how that does. This thing, probably the first year I got it, I bent it, and then I just bent it back, and I've ran it ever since. It hasn't really been much of an issue until this race. But yeah, we are literally stuck in first gear right now, if you couldn't tell in those last couple clips. But finishing our third lap, I thought this might be the last lap.
Is that it? Last lap.
This is the last lap. That was the third lap. Now we're going for a fourth lap, our last lap. I'm not gonna lie, I was so done right here, and I was just like, frick. Going for another lap. That's why I rode it that way instead of kind of pulling it out more. I thought it was just the last lap. I was like, screw it, let's ride it in with this first gear. We can't shift. But yeah, now able to pull it out enough to where I'm able to shift it, and we're back on our way. Kind of found this guy again. I think he gassed up or something. But this is the guy we were just behind. So I forgot to mention,
Oh, man.
we were in third coming into that last lap, the fourth lap, and I didn't really turn the GoPro on any for the last lap at all. I was pretty much just mailing it in, getting through that last lap, and yeah, just mailing it in really. But I ended up fourth, so I guess I lost one more position on that last lap and got fourth out of 18 people in my class. And I think that translated over to about, I think it was 48th out of 230, 240-ish riders in that total class. All right, y'all. Well, this is the aftermath of the KLX after doing the race. So super muddy, about to get it cleaned up now. Lost, as you guys saw, lost that number plate on lap, I think, 1. What else did we do? Got super muddy. Super caked up in mud. Gonna take a load on the pressure washer. I think the first time we bent this shifter in, I stopped, pulled it out, and then I think we bent it back too far. So I have a, what is it, a Tusk. I have a Tusk shifter that I'm gonna throw on there soon here. What else is the damage? What do we got? Fork seals. This thing, I had it zip tied onto here, so that can stay there. But fork seals are shot. Got a little bit of a leaky fork seal here, as you can see. Nasty. So, but that honestly already has started a small leak, but now they are definitely shot. Maybe shouldn't have even rode on them. Front tire also was super low. It feels like it's holding air, but I can't tell. It's also, I don't know. I can't tell if it's completely flat or not, but it's not how it should be. I think it's flat. We'll pump it up here after I wash it and see if it holds air. What else? What else we got? That's about it, I guess. I'm not sure. I might be missing something, but whew, took a toll on me and the KLX. But time to get her cleaned up before it's too dark. So that's all I got for you guys for this race. It was an eventful race, so be sure to leave a like if you guys enjoyed the series, and if you stayed this far, subscribe as well. Let me know if you guys want to see more of the KLX racing. I mean, if a ton of people want to see it, maybe I'll do it some more. It's definitely gonna, maybe I'll do some suspension mods to the KLX now for the future. We'll see. But also check the description for all the mods that I've done for the KLX, just little stuff, and also like the tires, Tusk Dual Sport tires. They're all down there in the description. But appreciate y'all watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.